In that case, let's call the Floyd County Board of Supervisors meeting to order for March 20th, 2020 at 9 a.m. First thing on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
And I will second that. We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor? Aye. Number 2, public comment. Do we have anyone today? Doesn't look like anybody was going to say much. Okay, we'll move on. Item number 3, review action regarding approval of February 24th and 25th, 2020 meeting minutes.
And I would move to approve those minutes.
Oop, that's what I got.
Oh.
I got
You got the one.
for a correction.
Mm-hmm.
You want to do that? I saw you had it corrected. so-
Yeah. No, I didn't correct it for timely enough, so that very last rate for the health insurance needs to be corrected.
Okay, I thought it said correction 2 minutes. so-
That was my
You
note, to have it corrected, because I
Okay.
kind
Do you want to make the correction in a separate motion?
that's probably best.
Okay.
There are 2 notations on the minutes of
Just one.
February 25th.
Just one, isn't there?
Just one.
And I would move to make those corrections to that minute.
Just the one, I think, isn't it, Doug?
Just one,
It just says correction of
Okay.
minutes is the no.
the February
the number.
25th.
All right, just the
minutes,
one.
Yeah,
yeah. At the bottom of the.
Correcting the dollar amount on the.
on the single spouse, employees, family health plan
No,
too.
that's not Cobra.
Yeah.
On our insurance rate.
Yeah, the spouse, employee, family plan too.
Okay, I'll second that. We have a motion and a second to amend the minutes for February 25th, 2020. Yeah, all those in favor? Aye. Okay. Now we will look for a motion to approve the minutes.
So I would move to approve the minutes of February 24th and the corrected minutes of February 25th.
Okay, and I will second that. So we have a motion and a second to approve the February 24th and amended February 25th meeting minutes. All those in favor? Aye. Item number 4, review action regarding approval of claims.
And I would move to approve the claims as presented.
And I will second that. All those in favor of approving the claims as presented?
Aye.
Aye. Review action regarding LEC courthouse project contracts and change orders as applicable. Did we get any more on the, yesterday you commented Bill Huey hadn't,
Yes, so Bill Huey has signed, I've got a signed one here from him.
okay,
And then, so that could be one motion. And then we probably would want to do a handwritten for that, if you're all good with everything on there.
Yeah,
They-
I had
the
a
one
question. I
issue-
talked to Brett this morning.
Yep, they talked about that. He said that was just the last of
Right.
the COLA, the
Catch
E.
up.
Schneider COLA.
Catch up, he called it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And then the other issue with that is, did you talk to him about the Paulson thing?
That
He said something that they were still working through that.
No, they've resolved that. Well,
Oh, that's
is that what
right,
he
that's
said?
right. It's to free up 2 spaces in that electric pocket.
okay.
Yeah, and they said that it'd be more effective to do it now than at a later point. have
While
to
they're down
upgrade
there,
it.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So you want that in 2 motions, one?
So it'd be more cost effective to do it now, is that what they're saying?
That's what he said, yeah.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
So
So I thought, I would probably do 2 separate motions.
we're gonna,
But if you have further questions, Roy, if you.
do we have?
Well, yeah, that was, I guess on the Paulson one, I'd like to talk to Brett about it if we
Okay.
can. And so if you can put that off another.
Sure.
Is that
another-
included in the pay app?
No.
No, if we can
So
put
then
that
we can
off
just
another
approve
2
the
weeks, yeah,
payout.
let's just approve the payout.
Okay.
Well, I'm not confident, I guess, that it's on the pay app. To tell you the truth, I don't know, because I think they've done their work. So,
Oh, you think they did some work already?
I
with that?
thought that they, you wanna call Brett, or?
Yeah, if you
Or you
want
wanna wait
to,
till
then we
next
get
Monday, or-
clarification on
We can try.
it. Sure.
Or we could wait till next Monday if you want, or, I don't think it will matter, we'll do a handwritten claim anyway on the pay app whenever we do it.
I can talk to Brad before next Monday and
Okay.
I'll visit with him.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah, I hadn't called him back because I hadn't, he was getting information, and for me at least, I hadn't heard anything back from him, so
yeah,
I
so
wasn't
I
gonna
get,
bug him about it.
Well, if we approve the pay app with it in there.
Yeah, then it would
effective
be
date you're done
approved, wouldn't
until-
it? That's true,
Yeah,
that's
right.
true.
right.
Unless we,
But it was a separate, it's a change order, it's not a pay app.
right.
Right, but if they
it's
did the work,
included
it's
in
okay.
that-
If they did the work, then they would include it in the pay
But
app.
I don't know if they've done the work for sure. I mean, that we could probably make from a phone. Let's see. There's $6,000 in this pay from, here's a copy of the pay app if you want.
From, for the electrical.
A hard copy one. Very last page. Miss Paulson, but I don't know.
Just says this period, $6,000. Doesn't have any breakdown. I don't have any reason to believe that it's in this pay app, actually.
Just can't say for sure.
So if we approve this today, when are you gonna send them a check today?
We would do a handwritten if you did approve the payout today, because the 2 weeks from now would be, they were gonna try to get things to us before Friday, before we do claims, but he didn't get it to us timely, so it wasn't in your claims. But the 24th is later than, I think 24th would be our next meeting, and that would, I think they'd have people wanting money.
Well, that's what I meant. If we don't do it today, then it's gonna be 2 weeks. minimum.
Well, next week you'll have a special meeting, could have a special meeting.
We were talking about having a special meeting next week about another issue, so.
It's up to you. We can call them and ask them if it's in there, or.
Like I said, this just says $6,000 and it's towards the original contract. The original contract is still hasn't changed. So I don't see any problem paying this pay app.
I would think they wouldn't have done the work until the change
Well,
order
if
was
they did,
completed.
and we don't approve it, they've got a problem with
Yeah.
it. I mean, and there are gonna be things down the road that'll be done on the fly, and I understand that, but this isn't one of those.
Yeah.
This isn't one of those. So, I don't have a problem approving this pay app and still going back and looking at that change order, Doug.
Okay, and I would move we approve pay app number 4 to the Samuels Group, correct? For the
Yep.
LAC project.
And I'll second that. We have a motion and a second to approve pay application number 4 for Samuels Group. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, other things with the LAC courthouse project. There was a meeting yesterday, Gloria, is that correct?
Yeah, meeting went well. There were, that meeting, there was 2 reps from Dean Schneider at the meeting.
Mhm.
Reviewed a lot of things. Bill Huey was also here. And I think everything, they're working on some, the doors for the detention center, some visibility issues,
Well, they
make
talked
sure
about
they've
They were
got
talking
hidden
about some
areas.
possible hidden areas,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Blind spots?
yeah.
Okay.
We asked about the schedule, are we on the schedule? It looks like we're a little bit behind because of the issue with the exterior panels, but nothing that should put us too far off on the contract or on our dates. We talked about the process of how's this all going to flow, relocation, that type of thing. Talked about having, if we could get the people, the fourth floor moved over to the new addition once that's built. It seems inevitable that we would need to move the judicial system out of the courthouse, but looking at possibly maybe shifting around floors and still keeping, maybe.
Sure.
Don't know that we're not, they still say that the fastest to get done would be to move everyone out of the courthouse, but it's still being explored on how we could do things
Sure.
by floor or something like that.
Sure.
And
If we
timing
could-
of things with, when everything could happen, so.
Yeah, because
Work in
if we
progress.
move the court systems out, we have the potential of that fourth floor being an overflow area to move offices
Yeah.
into temporarily
Yeah.
and
they're-
still keep them in the building.
But they're going to need to do third and fourth, the third floor, all the HVAC system is coming through on that third floor side. So they've got to, at some point, they've got to be making that noise to make the connections to the building. And it's just not probably going to bode well with the judicial system. if
Sure,
There's court going on.
absolutely.
The Dean Schneider, one of the Dean Schneider reps said that they've, been there before, and you just get shut down with court stuff going on, and it really puts them behind that work, So Brett is going to try to work through those floors and see if he can come up with a schedule and a time frame to keep things progressing. Dean Schneider says if ideally they would have been able to be doing things right now on third and fourth floor. He would have had a whole crew over the winter that could have been working on that, but the timing just wasn't.
Well, fourth floor is really a problem for us with the jail, obviously.
Yeah.
So, if we were to allow them to do something like that, we've got to move them. Yeah, that becomes a pretty good cost to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So, yeah, good meeting.
good, good. Well,
Well,
that's the way to get things done. You throw ideas out. Some work, some don't.
yeah.
So, keep moving forward. Anything else on that? Oh, I know what I was thinking of.
Oh, the fire marshal, if you saw my email, the fire marshal has approved the
We saw
plans.
that.
Good, good. Does your steering committee or group, do they have meetings every Monday? Is that what happens?
No, we haven't been doing that, but the OAC group, Jeff hasn't been coming to those, but those are going to probably start happening every 2 weeks now,
Okay.
or twice a month anyway.
So with Linda not here right now, if we have a meeting and she's not here, we need to know, so
Oh,
Doug
absolutely,
or I would
yeah.
attend
Actually, I
that.
think they're gonna start.
That's why I was
the
asking about next
The
Monday.
April meeting, it sounds like around the April meeting, they'll start
Okay.
maybe having every 2 weeks or
Okay.
twice a month or something.
So if one comes up that, yeah,
Yeah.
like I said,
Yep, absolutely.
Doug or I would probably try to attend that, I would think. Okay, anything else on project? Moving on to item number 6. This one we had discussion on yesterday. Review action regarding Aflac account assignment discussion.
Well, nobody is assigned the account now because the gal is gone.
Well, Marilyn's still assigned to it, and she hasn't retired or anything. She still can do the work, but she's not living in the area now. She's living in Ankeny or Ames, or which it was. She said she could still service things, but it was just kind of a mutual thing that it's like, probably time.
Well, just what I was thinking is, I mean, if we're going to compare these, our
Yeah.
liability insurance quotes, and that date is July 1.
July
or-
1.
Which would be, I mean, we gotta have it done by then, so in the next month and a half, so at that point, I mean, it looks like our two choices are EMC or ICAP.
I don't know if they'll come up with others or not. I'm not sure on that.
And at that-
I see two problems. Well, one is if we assign somebody, okay, well now July 1, we may want to change that or may not. It doesn't have to go with the other. The other side of it is if we don't have somebody and we start having meetings and try to give benefits out there and stuff, we're gonna miss that
Right.
portion of it.
Right. I don't think we should necessarily tie the two together, and like what Mark said, you could change that broker of record at any time as well. I would suggest that you maybe hold off a little bit, and next week have an agenda item for this again, as well as the, going out to get bids. And, then both Mark could come to that meeting next week.
Next week.
Yeah. I don't think a week's gonna hurt anything with holding off on the Aflac, but, or you could pick one.
I mean, there's no monetary effect on Floyd County whatsoever.
None
It's
at
just
all.
No.
Absolutely a pass-through, and
No,
it's a
really-
bookkeeping thing for you is really all it
We're
is.
still gonna write a check to Aflac, it's just who's gonna sell, who do I contact if an employee says, hey, I want an Aflac product?
Right.
Right, and then the question is, if Bob, I don't doubt what Bob was saying yesterday, but from what I followed is, it would probably be easier for the person buying it if you had somebody who was actually the broker and that's the person you go to. Because then the question is, do they go to Mark, and then Mark, if Mark can't answer that question, then he sends them to whoever is actually selling the insurance. So you got a two-step process. And if Bob actually is that step, then that does make sense for the employee.
Mhm.
So I really would, I guess getting both of them in the room and trying to pin that down would
Yeah.
probably make sense.
Yeah,
Does that sound about the way you understood, Gloria?
that sounds fine. I think that, an Aflac rep, whoever it is, regardless of the broker, would come and take care of an employee no matter what, just like
Right.
Maryland did. So whether it's, I know Bob said he could put those, sign them right
We're
up.
only talking
I
about,
don't know if Mark could as well. And Mark told me he could sell an individual plan, but he doesn't have any brochures or anything because he's not, that wasn't his intent of signing up with Aflac. It was to do the group.
but we only have 6
I think it's
employees
not-
that use it,
Yeah, not
maybe. So chances are there's nothing big.
Yeah. Well, and I
So
think.
it's not gonna hurt anything if we delay it for a week or two.
No.
Okay.
It can't take them that long to shift half a dozen people over to a new broker.
Right.
Well,
I just, so we will have those employee meetings, in, probably end of May. And just, that's all I care, is that I've got somebody that can present to the employees at that time.
well, because we're gonna have to deal with it in the future, near future. We could either let it die for lack of a motion, or we could actually make a motion to,
Table it until,
If you have a special meeting on Monday, you can
Right.
table it till.
well, we've talked about that we need a special meeting to talk about the insurance and decide, so. If we're gonna go out and get bids. I don't, it's up to you, Doug, or me, I guess. I'll make a motion that I'm trying to think of the right word.
Just table.
Table it, right, we table this
Table signing
until,
the account.
until March 16th. Okay?
okay, second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to table the Aflac agenda item till March 16th. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Review action regarding liquor license renewal application.
So everything is in order, the insurance is filed.
This one's all good, ready to go. This is just an annual renewal for Freeze Frame Bowl. It expires, I think, later this week, 14th.
So I would move to approve the liquor license application for Freeze Frame LLC.
And I'll second that. I have a motion and a second to approve the liquor license for Freeze Frame LLC. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Review action regarding appointment of primary and alternate representatives to the North Iowa Regional Housing Authority. Action, or review, discussion. I did talk with Jeff yesterday.
I was hoping
And-
you did.
Yeah, and he said that the meeting is, like the next one's scheduled for the 20, what is it, the 24th?
Tuesday?
Tuesday, yeah. And it sounded like maybe it is that fourth Tuesday. So our discussion, having one of us as the alternate, is not gonna work. But he is willing to be the appointment, and then we still have to find an alternate.
Someone like Karen Vanderlee might be interested in an alternate.
Okay.
She's doing something now, isn't she?
She was on Elder Bridge, I'm not sure if she still is or not. We don't do those appointments anymore, so I'm not sure. She may be though.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to contact her and see. But as far as the primary, there's no reason we can't appoint Jeff Sherman. And I'll make that a motion that we appoint.
Being as how Leslie is our zoning, does it make sense to have her?
What's that?
Being as how Leslie is our zoning, does it make sense to have her? We have to ask
I don't
her.
know that zoning has, yeah, really, because it's housing authority, so it's dealing with low-cost housing, you know, subsidized basically. And so I don't, you know, there's probably somebody in the area that it makes sense. And because they don't deal with Charles City as such, if I understand
Rockford
right.
is the only property.
Yeah, it'd be somebody over that way if we're gonna try to find, and that might be a good thing too, if we had somebody in that area over there that had an interest in that.
I've never been on one of those, I don't know what they do.
Yeah, so,
Well, with that, I move that we appoint Jeff Sherman as our primary representative to the North Iowa Regional Housing Authority.
and I'll second that. Further discussion? All those in favor of appointing Jeff as the primary Regional Housing Authority representative from Floyd County? Aye. Review action regarding appointing entity administrator for system reward management. Discussion.
So you may remember back in, I don't know if you were here. Were you here, Wayne?
No, I think you asked me that last time we
Yeah.
talked, and I said, no, I was not here.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
So the SAM registration, the Systems for Awards Management, it's called SAMS.
Seems like I've started, does Gail have to do that every once in a while?
Not that I'm aware of, there's no account out there for her, so.
Is this for getting grants? Access to?
Well,
grants?
it's used for different things, it is for grants, but you could be on the other side of it, searching, you know, looking for businesses to do things too for you. But we are on the receipt side of it, so with sheriff's deputies, FEMA grants, the
Yeah, maybe I did one
IH
for Adam.
Adam has it.
Conservation might
Yep,
have, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember it, but.
The four in Floyd County are just Floyd County in general, sheriff, emergency management, and conservation. And in 2018, we did this notarized letter. Here's a copy of the 2018 one that we did, a notarized letter saying that who you designate as the entity administrator. And the entity administrator just goes in and updates who's authorized for applying for accounts, point of contacts, things like that, for the department. The most recent one that came about was with emergency management. Leslie created an account and could only get so far, and they need this notarized letter to pursue anything farther on the site. So I've followed up with Conservation, Sheriff's Department, and with, Leslie, just from the initial conversation, where she's stuck on the process, she needs it for her Homeland Security grant dollars that she gets. She needs to have that site out there. And I've offered to be that system administrator, the entity administrator, to all of them. They've all been receptive to that. Again, like on the sheriff's, Sheriff Crooks has roles on this. When I went out to that site, it still had Rick Lynch on there. And so it hadn't been updated. Both conservation and sheriff were incomplete. And then Leslie's is just pending altogether because it hasn't even gotten far enough to put in more data.
So you have
on
4
it.
of them listed, it was 4 DUNS numbers, is that
Yep.
sheriff?
Yes, so just the
Emergency
county, just the county is the one, and then sheriff is the other DUNS. And I don't remember, I think it was maybe Leslie that said something about that they can't have the same DUNS number as another entity for the awards because of how some grants are awarded. And so this, if you are willing to do this notarized letter, this just authorizes me to go out and would be able to wrap up the emergency management, SAM's registration, and update conservation and sheriff. And because of this, what we did in 18, I've always been able to administer ours, but they've put everything under I'll call it the home county, our county, so all the DUNS fall under us for agencies under Floyd County. And so this, all it does for me is just like the sheriff changes, I can put in who the next sheriff is. If we have conservation director change, or if point of contact for the sheriff's office, or if it's just those kind of responsibility things. But they can all go out, apply for their grants. I'm not involved in that part of it. It's just making sure that I'll call it the core part of the contract or the registration is updated. And annually I go in ours when it changes supervisors or whatever, I go in and change that. So if anything just changes, I'll go in each year and update the records, and registration will be up to date.
Yeah, and I'm glad you made that comment that it's our responsibility, because as I look at this and I think about it a little bit, and I think to myself, well, if they want individual DUNS numbers for each of these entities, it would almost seem like that entity would be responsible. And,
That's what it
and
used
we
to be
wouldn't make the choice.
until 18.
See, we wouldn't make the choice. That would be each one would have to decide what they were going to do and have to send an individual letter
Yeah.
if they wanted that done. But
That's
no,
what
that's
but
fine.
evidently, we were the only ones that did this in 18. The other the sheriff and conservation didn't update theirs. at that
Oh.
time.
Yeah, that
So-
came up in 18, because that was the same thing in Chickasaw,
Yes,
with that whole thing, and
Yeah.
the certified letter, or the
notarized.
notarized letter and all that stuff, and went into it, and I had a discussion with the auditor over there at the time, and so this came to light again, this just last week,
Yep.
over
they're
there.
on
Oh.
there. Yep.
And so I said, I am not the administrator, or auditor, you are, and la la la, so.
Well, they
yeah.
can, you can.
Oh, I
appoint
understand that. I
an
understand
executive
that,
director. Yeah.
I mean, the
Well,
only
and
time we
for
deal
what-
with it is with FEMA stuff, basically.
We could easily change this to Dusty.
Right. No,
No, I'll do this, you can have
and it
this.
does make sense to have one person in charge of it if it comes back to the responsibility of the county in the end. And then if there's updates that need to be done, they do it to all four
Yeah.
DUNS numbers, and it's,
Yeah.
And I
it
think
all
once
gets
you go
done,
in
rather than
there,
something
there's
get left to the wayside.
verification of entity, verification, like you said, you go
Yeah.
and check sheriff, blah, 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 and if that
Yeah.
all needs to
I
be
think the
verified.
one where Adam used it to conservation was that little piece of property up there that FEMA got involved. Hey,
Yes, he said
hey.
FEMA was the last one he thought he had it.
And-
And he doesn't know that he would need it again, but
Right.
if,
You-
we'll just update it. and
Right.
If they
It's a
have
way
an
to deposit
opportunity.
those monies and then you just take it out.
No money goes through this, it's just a registration of federal awards. There's no
It's
change.
just that
of-
they can go look and say, are you a
Yeah.
verified
Yeah.
Floyd
Right.
County, blah, 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 blah,
Right.
or whatever.
Right.
Somehow they use it for record keeping. Yeah, I was involved in this from another place, and yeah, it's something you gotta do to make sure you can apply for
Receive
grants
the
and
grants,
Or red
yeah.
tape.
federal money, and,
Yeah.
yeah, more red tape, but we have to dot our i's, cross our t's.
So what are we gonna do, appoint Gloria as the entity administrator
Yep,
for,
yep,
Okay,
I
I'll-
talked to all three of them and they're all good with that.
okay, I would move that we appoint Gloria Carr as county auditor as the entity administrator for these 4 different accounts, Sam's accounts.
Yeah, it's just,
System for award management.
yeah, it's,
Yeah.
for activation of the SAM entity registration.
And I'll second that. Further discussion, from Gloria and I, our conversation previously, it doesn't really become a stumbling block for any of these organizations if they want to apply for something. They still want to do their
Absolutely.
applications and
Yeah.
do the whole thing, so.
If I remember the last couple, it seems like they got to the point where they got the award and then you quick update this thing so that you can get the award.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, with that,
If you keep it updated every year, you don't have to do that.
Right.
we'll call for the vote to approve Gloria Carr as the administrator for the 4 DUNS numbers that we are responsible for. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carried. Review action regarding FY21 health, wellness, dental premiums for Cobra and 509 employees. Discussion.
So that was kind of one of the things that caught the error on the minutes. I hadn't, I said, I'll just fill in all the stuff for the rates. But I didn't include this Cobra 509 stuff, 509A stuff. And I thought, well, that could be the motion to correct the minutes to include this as well. But it's quite a bit to put in there, so I thought maybe it was best to do a motion. And this is the sheet that I had a couple of these lines the dollars, I crossed over dollars and titles of what they were. And this is a bit different because we haven't had different rates for Cobra and 509A options, where now we're giving them the option if they want to just buy into that high deductible Wellmark product, a high deductible out-of-pocket Wellmark product, that they could do that. So that wouldn't be the same rate as the rest of the employees. So I thought it might just be cleaner if a motion was made just to approve the Cobra rate options, Cobra and 509A rate
Sure.
options.
Okay. Well, I would move to approve the Cobra rate options as provided in our packet for our Cobra and 509A employees.
And I'll second that. I have a motion and a second to approve the Cobra 509A rate options. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carried. Item 11, review action regarding notice of retirement from a secondary road employee.
Copy of the letter, I should have. It's the Doug Temple, basically gave me a letter, or basically came to me in last week and 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, and said that he's looking at retiring. I have to find the darn thing. Page by page. Here it is. basically saying that his last day of work will be Friday, March 20th, 2020. So,
Okay.
I know he's talked about it for a little while, and he was running numbers and stuff like that, so then when he came in a couple weeks ago, says, oh, man, I don't know, and I'm like, okay, wow, that was quick. So, just, I don't know how to do that, if you just.
We actually
Set
don't
that.
take action on those normally, we just know.
You always have on Dusty's.
Oh,
I'm not
have
sure
we?
why,
Yeah.
but you always have on
Really?
Dusty's. That's always after Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah, just accept the letter of resignation due to retirement for Doug Temple.
Maybe because of the way the system works as far as
That'd be great. to have.
Dusty and Secondary Roads actually answer to us directly rather than, because other ones have separate boards a lot of times, yeah.
Right. That makes as much sense as anything.
I would move that we accept the letter of pending retirement from Doug Temple.
And I'll second that. Further discussion. Tell him congratulations.
Yeah, we will.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carried.
Okay.
Item 12, discussion regarding Floyd County Farm to Market System.
Geez, here's my big sigh, here's my big sigh.
What's going on now, Dusty?
The reason I put it on here is just so you're aware of this. I was gonna talk to you individually, but I figured, with the, we have farm to market system across the county.
Yep.
And according to code section 306, you can review your farm to market system, adjust roads, different roads you want it to be on it or not on
Add,
it.
subtract?
Yeah, you can do that. The question reason
I
this
thought
is
they were
on
all
here
planned
now.
years ago.
Well, you can only have so many miles of farm to market roads. Like when they transferred, the Rockford Road, let's go to that one, that was transferred from the state to the county. You know, when they transfer that over, it transfers as a local road, an area service road. Doesn't transfer as a farm to market road, even though the federal classification still is there, which is different. So I had to go to the farm to market review board, I did that back, whenever they transferred that damn thing. Anyways, and go to the farm to market review board, which is made up of county engineers. Mark Nair is one that pops in my head, I think he's the chair for that committee. So they'll review our submittal, I submitted to the DOT, long story short, that we review, send it to the DOT, send it to the farm to market review board, and they may approve it or not approve it. In some cases, it makes sense. Has to look in that code section 306 also talks about continuous systems, which means if it's a farm to market road going up to Mitchell County and then this needs to be,
Mitchell County
it
lines
needs
up
to be
and
farm to
keep
market
going.
also, or if they have one come down and all of a sudden we need to make sure it's continuous through also going to state roads. That it would connect, not just stop in the middle of nowhere, and a lot of these roads are the black line, the thicker black line. So what happens here now is the City of Floyd interchange that the DOT is doing. We have a farm to market extension that comes into town from the northwest by the quarries and comes down, goes all the way down, crosses by Dugan's Restaurant and goes to the 4-lane. Well, with the interchange that's going to take place here, there is, our farm to market will dead end into nowhere. So I had a meeting with the City of Floyd. What also throws a little twist in this thing is in 2004, all farm to market extensions in towns under 500, which Floyd is, transfer jurisdictional control went to the counties. So, that being said, that's why that farm to market extension that goes by Dugan's Restaurant and comes to 4-lane, technically was mine. We did 28E agreements, which the state or whoever else, they don't care about these 28Es. This is just me. I went to these cities, I said, okay, we'll maintain the center 22 feet, but anything outside that center 22 feet, I don't want to have to worry about. Are you okay with this? And then, in turn, we also give those towns under 500 their dollar amount that is given to us in road use tax fund by, and you'll see in my budgets when it comes through that those transfer jurisdictions of town under 500 give me so much. So like in FY19, City of Floyd in this case was given $8,322.55 back. The current fiscal year right now, 20, to date, so far this year was $6,210.32.
Are they required to use it on that specific roadway? Or
I
do
do
they-
not believe that there is a specific requirement that they have to use that, they can use that money where they want.
'Cause you have to use
DOT is
fund-
not recognizing, they recognize that we can do this, they allow, they
Right.
work with the counties to do this and the towns, but technically, it's still my jurisdiction either way.
Yeah,
We do this just so that, hey, they're small towns, they don't have a lot of resources, a lot of funds coming in, so that's why I turn around and give it to them. There are some counties that will take that as a percentage base, you take the center 22 feet, and you have how much right away, so that's about 50-50, so we'll keep half the money, you'll give you half the money. Either way, it's kind of whatever.
Right.
The old 28Es that were back in the day, I think when Lyle was here, whatever, they had 28Es that even the towns above 500 were, hey, we're gonna maintain the center 22 feet. And I think that's why I kind of just went with what Lyle had back in the day and said, hey, we're still gonna maintain the center 22 feet, no cost to you. Utilities are yours because if they're your sewer lines and all that,
Right,
they're
right.
not mine, they're your utilities.
they're not
owned by
necessary
you.
for farm to market.
Right, so, anyway, so what comes to light here is, and I'm working through the process here, is which road should we veer off of the existing one to cut across to Highway 218 to the east? You got Main Street, you got Second Street, there's a bunch of streets there that
Mhm.
I feel no one's given me the right answer yet as far as the DOT is concerned. There's been discussions, I've called people, and because of code section 306, it's right here, 306.5, the farm to market road system shall be continuous interconnected system and provision shall be made for the continuity by the designation of extensions within municipalities, state parks, state institutions, state lands, county parks, county conservation mileage of such extensions. The system shall be included in the total mileage of the farm to market road system. So, because of that, something has to be done as far as me going to the farm to market review board, give them to the DOT, I think. Now, do I want to take over does the county, not just me, sorry, does the county want to take over 3 blocks of an old city street that maybe is not up to current ADA standards, is maybe double seal code, where all that truck traffic, they're gonna have to designate a truck route in the city, but that's up to the city. So they're coming to me and asking, so which one are you gonna make the farm to market? And I'm like, well, I'm not sure, am I required to do that? Technically by the code, I think I am, or the county is,
Mm.
but the DOT is not coming because of their project now. I'm gonna have to take over 3 blocks of maybe not a good truck route.
But are you gonna eliminate 3 blocks?
I would eliminate down, I would basically, wherever that branches over to 218,
Right.
I would eliminate the rest of it down around by Dugan, which then turns into city street for them, which that one is probably better for a truck route, but now that they're dead ending it, we don't have much of an option here. So, I also go back on, how did it ever get designated 100 years ago? Well, they just said, well, we just picked out, here's your farm to market road, this was the best route going through town. Now, until 2004, that was still a city street. Now, after 2004, that extension, that was what was given to the counties, we all agreed upon it. So, my question comes down to then, in section, sorry, I'm gonna read this again, transfer jurisdiction. So I'm just giving you guys feedback in case you get talked to by the City of Floyd Council, or if I find out more info from DOT, I'm trying to work with Krista Rostad over at the DOT in Mason. I'm talking to our local systems representatives on the DOT side down in Ames. It says, prior to change in jurisdiction of a road or street, the unit of government having jurisdiction shall either place the road or street and any structures on the road or street in good repair or provide for the transfer of money to the appropriate jurisdiction amount. I don't know that that's what this is. This reminds me of the Rockford Road, because I believe we either got money with the transfer that we did the TJs back then, or if, like, the road north of town going over the viaduct on the way out of town, I was with the DOT that year before I came here, and we had to pave that road, and the old highway going through Rudd and all that. We paved those roads as DOT when I was there, so that the county could take it over. So, I don't know if this falls under that, or does it just say, Dusty, you need to make that continuous per the code, you designate that route, go through the farm to market review board, and all of a sudden it's yours, condition as is, which I'm not 100% agreeing that we should take over 3 blocks worth of something to have truck traffic destroyed, and all of a sudden now I've got to fix it.
When you
So-
met with them, did you do it at a council meeting?
Just just a meeting, we met with Skyline, Caitlin was there because that's their trucks coming out of quarry. Dave Sargent was there, I mean, their city guy, I think a couple council members, mayor.
Okay.
So I mean, it was an informal, just, hey, let's discuss this, what are your options? I said, you guys, I don't know that I'm required to do, because I don't feel I've talked to, why am I required to take over 3 blocks of a road that may not hold up to truck traffic? Now, that being said, I think the city has discussed upgrading a couple roads, or a road in there to make it a truck route to come from that quarry, but I don't know if they're going right into the south entry of the quarry, so that they could just come out, or if they're going all the way over to the farm to market road. I'm not sure, those were plans that they talked about. So, I guess I just want you guys aware of it. I'm still doing more research, and I'll be talking with the DOT. I'll talk with Mark Nera or this week, ISAC. I'll be down there, and I know Mark will be there, because I know Mark is the chair of that Farm to Market Review Board. Has this ever come up before? The question, I think, talking with the local systems engineer, Nikki, she basically had talked to Krista, I think it was Krista, basically saying, well, could this be a damages thing where because of your Floyd exchange now, or interchange, that this is affecting this, and maybe there should be some funds involved so that I could
Right.
upgrade that road.
So those rates could be made.
Or
Yeah.
the city does before I take. So I don't know, there's a lot of,
Right.
not sure, no one's giving me
Yeah.
an answer. Has this come up before? I would assume it has, but no one can tell me that it has. So they're still doing some more research. Yeah, I'm sure that per this code and the farm to market, you know, it's kind of,
You know, it's
and that's
interesting.
the farm to market road right now. Like I said, it comes down in and goes across. So you've got Main Street, which is First Ave, I think that's that one. Then you got Second Ave and Third Ave. Well, they're not really,
The obvious one would be that one to the north, but that's not in very good shape.
no, and you come down steep to the
Right,
218
you come
there.
down steep. I was gonna say, for my first gut reaction is, okay, for the county's reasoning, we do the shortest route, which would be that one that you're talking about comes down and pretty sharp,
Or,
you know?
and I hate to do it this way, well, here's our farm to market road that comes down here. Do we want to keep that as a farm to market road, or just eliminate it altogether and call it a local road? But then, you know, if I've got to update that asphalt going northwest of
Yeah, I
town,
don't know.
you don't want, you'd have to use local dollars.
Aren't you
Yeah,
doing that culvert right in there too with farm to market dollars?
Actually, no, that's local dollars. I'm doing that with the local letting now. But I mean, you're
But
right,
that's
anything you would
initially
do,
the
you
plan.
could do. Yeah,
Yeah.
so anyways, I just want you guys aware of it, because the city's been, you know, coming to me. I know Dave came last week, wanted to know what, because they're looking at designating truck route, and I'm like, guys, I don't have my answer yet from the DOT. And we have a couple years before we get to that point.
right.
So if I'm gonna,
The last. How many of those exits are they closing? So, are they closing that one, I call it Zimmer's,
yeah,
right?
that goes in that one, he's
That
got,
one's
he's gonna have to
being
go into town to get out of his
So
place.
you'd have to go a mile to the west
Oh,
You gotta go all the way over to,
right.
and come back in
There's a-
on that gravel over there if you wanted an alternate route.
Yeah,
to
there's-
skip the whole entire city. But
yeah, that's
that-
March Avenue, yeah.
that doesn't
Yeah.
get you out of Warren Holmes Quarry going to the east.
Right, no, and that's just it. So I understand, but no one's giving me the right answers here, and like I said, for me, you know, is it only a couple blocks? Yeah, it is only a couple blocks, I get that. But what am I getting for a road and the truck traffic gonna hold up? I don't know if it will or won't.
But then I look at the long term of it, and I think about how many blocks are you eliminating? You know, because you're only 3 blocks to
1, 2,
18, right?
4, 4 1/4.
4 1/4, so you're
blocks.
losing a
If
block.
I'm looking at, you know.
You're losing a
that's
block
just-
and a quarter if you figure it that way.
Yeah.
So you're
I just
losing,
don't wanna get an alley and then hope the truck traffic's gonna hold up, and then
No,
guess what,
no,
we
I
gotta
understand.
spend money in there, that's what I'm saying. I'm
but in the
just gonna
long run, you're losing about 25% of your, 25% distance, right?
be- Yeah.
Something like that.
Like I said, it's not a lot of funds either way, either,
So-
you know,
So yeah, it's gonna cost to get it there, but then you look over years and you're actually gonna not give them that money, you're gonna save some money.
Right, what they'll do is they'll change it, I'm not gonna, see, I get that amount from the state
Right,
for this extension, now I won't.
oh, so it
Now
really
I'll get
isn't.
less. Now instead of 8,000 for the year, I'll get 6,000 for the year because I got a
Right,
quarter less.
right,
Right.
Because all I do is turn, like I said, they give us that estimate every year and the DOT gives us that number, here's what the ballpark's gonna be for that farm market extension. So I take that and budget it as a revenue, but I also budget the same amount for an expenditure.
You know, you mentioned eliminating that road as farm to market, making it something else. Is there a percentage of so much of our
There is, and I
roadways
don't
that can
know
be
what it
farm to
is.
market? Is there a formula?
Yeah, because I couldn't go out there and go add
Right,
30 miles of farm to market, they would
Right.
say, no, you're already at this, there's a certain percentage, and I
So-
don't remember what it is.
so then my question would be, if you eliminate 2 miles here, you've got the option to add 2 miles someplace else.
There are some counties that do that. They'll say, hey, we've noticed that there's a lot of shift. I mean, you can look there's more miles. I mean, everything that's black, some is hard surface, some is gravel. So I mean, some of them counties may go and say, well, there's no more traffic going this way. We have bridge weight limits, so actually all the traffic goes this way now. There's some that just go and eliminate these 4 miles and then add these 4 miles.
Mhm.
And then they'll do an FM project on that road. So they'll shuffle where
Well,
they.
they'll move them around.
Oh, yeah, just to use that FM money, yeah, which I get it.
I thought that was designated, and that was
No,
Yeah, I thought it
cardinal
was
rule. You-
100 years ago they did this or something.
Yeah, no, you can, yeah, there are some counties that will take all these off because there's not much traffic on it anymore, but then shuffle it over 2 miles and then use that farm to market account for that road over
When they
there.
made them not wagon roads and they made them actually.
There's gotta be
roads,
good
you
justification
know?
for it, like I said, you go to the farm market review board, I think they look at it and say, hey, we had, 5 hog buildings go up, or we had
Yeah.
Kmart build right here, and so the traffic has changed. And that makes sense, so they go through that farm market review process, so. I don't know if anybody, a lot of people do that, but you could do that, you could shuffle everything over 2 miles and then eliminate these, and the numbers don't change, but yet the locations do.
Aren't the farm to market roads built different also? Aren't they wider?
Typically, they're wider.
Yeah.
There are some that maybe are not as wide as, most of the farm markets are wider.
Because I get on a road like that and I think, well, this is probably a farm to market without
You
knowing
can sense
exactly.
the area service roads are narrower, typically,
Yeah,
you're right.
yeah.
Typically, they are. A lot of them are just getting pounded out wide anyways, even the local ones, so.
So if you did that, then you'd widen out all your roads as you
Okay.
did that.
Yeah, and then half the roads we're trying to narrow up because we're
Right.
pounded out so much. Anyway, I just want you guys aware of it, and until I get something, because what it's gonna be, and I wish I would take a folder up here, but I did this back years ago when we got the Rockford Road, is there has to be a resolution passed by the board that I take and get to the DOT and the Farm and Market Review Board, so.
But you're working with the city of Floyd on this at this time.
Sort of. I'm letting them know that I'm not sure what's the right answer, because no one's giving me that right answer yet.
Yeah. Well, we want to be a good partner.
Yeah. But there again, should they someone upgrade the road before we take it, and then we're good? I don't know. You know, by that code, that's one thing. But that's not saying that, you know, is how the farm market were established back 100 years ago, because they were the main roads going into, you know,
Well,
the
that's
co-op,
sort of like-
the market.
That's sort of like what you were saying, though, shifting the road over 2 miles. Well, then, you know, Floyd could say, well, let's do it this way for this 5 years, and then 5 years from now, let's change it to a different road, and you guys upgrade that one.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, right. I mean, that's why I don't play that game
Yeah.
per se, you know, we leave it as what makes sense. I just want you guys to work because I have to go with that. And I'm not necessarily, I'm not sure what to tell the city of Floyd. You know, they came up, well, what are you gonna do? And I said, well, we're gonna make if they're gonna make a truck route in town, obviously they probably wanna line it up with that FM. I said, okay, that's fine, but then, okay, then that's my road. You know, that's what I'm saying. I'm kinda,
Was that,
we'll work with it, but
was that
I need the
road
DOT
from Main
direction.
to Dugans, was that repaved when they did that north of town?
I don't know. I'm not sure. But that's all PC, you know, that whole stretch in there, that was our farm market right now is all concrete. And now, I don't know, Main Street I think is
Main Street concrete.
concrete, yeah, but then
Is
the
it?
north of them are asphalt, I believe. So that's what I'm saying, is like, okay, what
One of
do
them's
you
got a
take?
big dip in it from the water line,
Yeah.
one of them blocks.
But they had I think the city said they had plans drawn up for repaving one of those north. Putting, you know, if you put curb and gutter in or whatever.
The first block, to get to the entrance to the old quarry, that's paved.
Right, the rest of it isn't though. Right, because they were talking about that.
Yeah, they watch that real close too. Because this winter had all an emergency load of rock, and usually if you want to go that way, you go through the old quarry. Well, they hadn't plowed the snow on the old quarry. So I came down to that road, I'm gonna cross and wasn't long, and I got a call. One of your trucks? Yeah, it was me.
Anyways, but I want you guys aware of it. Like I said, I'll
Okay.
just keep working with the DOT on that. And like I said, I don't know which way it's gonna go, and if it comes down and we just have to designate it and switch it, I get it, because the code says it. We got a couple of years though. Like I said, I'm not planning on jumping ship until they start construction, which is in couple 22.
Well, and I think,
But if you gotta rebuild 3 blocks of that road,
Yeah.
you gotta think about doing that before they
Close off and
clear
start
go
going that
off and you
way.
got no road, yeah.
And that's just it too, is it's not mine yet. I mean, do we transfer it and then do it and then farm to market, which in the next, whatever, you guys will be getting my farm to market sheet, so I'll show you all that stuff, and it's not as simple. I mean, I can't pave all the roads we need to pave that are paved, so.
Right.
Anyways, but I just figured you guys need to be aware of it and stuff like that, and
well, and I think you're right on pursuing the DOT, because the DOT is who's creating this problem.
yeah. Yeah, true.
And usually, I mean, from what I've seen of this, if the DOT creates a problem, they come up with money to help solve that, don't
We just had
they?
this discussion last night at 9 o'clock.
Well, you would think, but I mean, I think when Nikki had talked to Krista, it was, well, that's not our problem. What I kind of got on it, now whether that's true or not, I don't know. I don't know 100% if that's true. So,
Okay.
anywho, I figured I'd give you guys a little.
Well, next time I
background.
see Krista, I might ask her that.
Yeah, I'll see her, and, well, we got NICOG and
I'll have a meeting eventually.
intercog meetings coming up, so. Basically, it's been nice weather. I know the motor graders were out kind of touching up areas. There's gonna be soft spots, normal spring stuff.
I saw one the other day, and I thought, wow, that's a surprise. Spring must be here.
And so, I mean, we'll continue to touch up stuff up. I mean, I think, the rain doesn't help a lot unless you get good hard pounding rain maybe. And then, I don't think right now, knock on wood, we're seeing effects like we were last year. Of course, it's only second week in March.
Actually, those frost bolt last year didn't show up until late. We thought we were over the hump. And
Yeah, then they started going heck. So, we'll just kind of keep monitoring the gravel roads. Bridge north of Norris Springs, S70, we did close that a week ago, and then brought equipment in. The old bridge is tore out already. So pile been delivered. I think pile came in Friday. But I'm looking at probably start driving pile pretty soon here.
So water up over there?
It wasn't bad when I went up there, because last week I was at conference Thursday, Friday. I went there Wednesday.
The Big Cedar is running pretty heavy right
Yeah,
now.
I heard it's going down already.
Is it? It might be.
Maybe, yeah. So, and that's just a small tributary up there anyway, so that's
Sure.
nothing really crazy up there. At least the old bridge is out and they'll start moving pavement and dirt and start driving pile.
Good.
Haven't had any news yet on the paving stuff. That'll be, what I found out at my conference last week was that any of this stuff like the T26 stuff that we're gonna do, this high pro, you want it warmer temperatures, you want it in 70 degrees, so a lot of that probably won't happen till this summer.
Okay.
And I haven't had pre-cons yet, so I'll know more later. Outside that,
Gravels,
yeah,
knock on wood, are
we hold up, hopefully they'll
holding
stay.
up. I know the frost is still down there, so.
Yeah. I don't know if there's how much is down there, I don't think there's a lot.
depends on
We
where
didn't
you
have-
are.
Yeah,
Cornfield, there was never anything.
Yeah.
We tried to hammer through about 3 feet of it the other day.
really.
Yeah.
The top of it was soft and the bottom was soft, but it's still hard in the middle.
And then
Well, we know we'll have frost boils. The question is how severe and
Right.
how long.
06 was a bad year, I remember that one. And then that's why I said we gotta make sure we have enough rock on the roads. And then now last year was the worst I've ever seen, so.
Right.
I'm hoping it goes another 14 years. I could be gone and make, see I'll be old by then, and then I could be retired by then. I don't have anything else, you guys, and I know you had on the agenda regarding that electrical line.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't know.
Did you ever
The
get,
contact person, if you have any questions about it.
did you ever get a notice for?
I never did for Floyd County, I only got.
So I'm curious about roads and, you know, do they, Lauren and I were talking, do they have right of way to do that? Can they just bore in our roads, or do they have to get a permit from us every time we do that?
I think, because like, when the railroad does anything, they don't need a permit from us, because the railroads were established long before the roads, but they've always, those are the things I always heard. So my assumption is if they get permission, the railroad, I don't know that they would, but I mean, obviously, I think there'd be some common sense there that they would notify us when we're gonna either go through a road or bore under it is a, I don't know,
That's a huge project.
just extra copy or do you want?
Yeah, you can have that.
Okay. Yeah, that is a huge project, so. And I only got to explain where our shop is right by the line over in Chickasaw.
And you're planning on going to that meeting?
I'm not sure if I'm going to this one or not. I looked
Do you have the
online.
front page of this correct date?
Mine is a different day because it's Chickasaw one. This is over at the Wellness Center. This
Oh.
one's at the
Fairgrounds.
Fairgrounds.
Enrichment Center, 18.
They had
18th,
They had an
Wednesday.
error, they called it Monday.
They call it
They
Monday,
called
the
it
18th
Wednesday.
originally.
Yeah, they called it Monday, then the
Oh.
second letter came with correction, it's Wednesday.
See, this one is the, oh, it's Friday, the 13th at 5:30. Yeah, they good one. So, no, I went online and looked at it and kind of explains it a little bit, but. I suppose they're doing their due diligence, just let everybody know about it, that's why they sent as many letters out as
Well,
they
they
did.
can't negotiate, if you read that, they can't
Until
negotiate
they
with
have it.
anybody until they have these public meetings.
Yeah, I did read that.
And then, one more thing.
Yep.
As I was coming in this morning, I see I got a voice message. There's a meeting of this group on the drainage district. Is
Yeah,
that
it's 3 o'clock today,
At 3 o'clock today.
downstairs.
Okay.
2:30.
Bill. told me
Oh, I
to-
think I put a half hour extra on there too. but-
Okay. so
He called
3
me and then
o'clock
sent me
today.
an email with the agenda and minutes from last meeting.
Daylight savings time.
Do you want to go to that, Doug, or you want me to go to
I
that?
can.
I- It doesn't make any difference, but I
I don't know, yeah, I can go.
mean, you got good knowledge with drainage districts and stuff, so if you get time and want to go, that might be.
Same thing, every time we go to the NICOG meeting, I think we're lucky. Hancock County and,
Oh, yeah.
oh man, they just having continuous meetings. I think Sir Gordo has mutual drainage districts on all 4 borders. They-
Humboldt County Supervisor said they spend 2 hours at every meeting on drainage districts.
Really?
There is a 4:30 meeting in the assembly room, so hopefully that'll be done by then. I would hope.
Yeah, I wouldn't say.
What's it, 2:30?
3 o'clock, I think I put
3
an
o'clock,
extra half
okay.
hour start time just so they can.
Yeah.
Get there.
Yeah, if you want to go to that, Doug, I'll let you. Okay, nothing
I got
else?
nothing else. No.
We're gonna move on, that was item 13, we're gonna move on to item 14.
Move to adjourn.
Second, we are adjourned.